Hello, welcome to my channel, Ren0216. I'm Ren, and I didn't post yesterday because I live in a town where fireworks are legal, but it happens to be surrounded by towns where they're not legal. So, as you can imagine, it was very loud here last night, and I didn't think I could give a good quality video with that going on in the background. It was very loud. So I'm here tonight though. Much quieter tonight. It's amazing what a day makes, isn't it? Um, and if you're new, my channel is where I mainly share my daily accounts on my diets and my weight loss journey and exercise and whatnot. It's I even give diet advice from things I have learned. And side note is I was at Target, which I normally never go to Target. Never even have a reason to go to Target because it's not that close to me. So I generally don't shop there. I'd have to go out of my way, but I was with my partner's family and we were stopping at Michael's and then we were going to Target afterwards. And I found this yogurt at Target that was 25 grams of protein. I'm like, well, I'll be darned. And it had like no sugar in it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. Just another tool in my arsenal. I normally get 20 grams. We'll see how the 25 grams goes. So, yeah, any way to make that appropriate level of protein each day is awesome. And of course, I have I don't know, and I noticed that my grocery store, it has started stocking like much larger variety of protein supplements and things like that as like bars. And honestly, I'm gonna be real, I can't stand protein bars. I have not found a protein bar yet that tastes remotely good. And and everybody I've spoken to has felt the same way. I think the fact that I can get these pastries that are 20 grams of protein and they taste delicious, why can't I find a protein bar to be like that? I don't, I'm just failing to see. I mean, come on, we're modern age. We can do better. We should do better. We should want better. Just because it's diet doesn't mean it has to taste terrible. But yeah, so I got my exercise in by walking everywhere. A lot of walking. So yeah, well, I'll probably be heading back out again tomorrow to do laundry and dishes over at my parents' place because we're still waiting on water. Hopefully, though, with the holidays being over, I'm hoping the maintenance man will come tomorrow and finish. He came, he saw, and left. So, crossing, crossing. Otherwise, I guess stay positive. You can't you can't let things weigh you down or get to you. Just find a different route to take. We're in a very lucky situation. So it's inconvenient, but it could be much, much worse. And I'm grateful for that. So yeah, we have power. We haven't lost power. I guess there's supposed to be another storm coming in, so I don't know. I didn't check to see if it was supposed to be cold weather or just rain. Could be rain. Probably rain. It's the time of year for rain. Either way, I'm covered. Yay. I got some new hand-me-down clothes from my partner's mom. She is thinning out her wardrobe, Actually, this is one of her tops I'm wearing. Yeah, she's thinning out her wardrobe. And I like some of her style. And whatever I don't like, I don't have to take. That's the beauty of it. She doesn't take advance. Why not? The way I see it is, I don't, I'm like to the point where I don't really, I know I need to realistically size down on my clothes, but I don't like to spend a lot of money because I'm like a pair of shorts I got. I was only able to use them for about 2, 3 months before I realistically couldn't use them anymore because they were just that big. And I'm, I just don't see why I want to spend a huge amount of money on something like that when it's not gonna. I like to make my money count. I don't like to waste money needlessly. And so I'm kind of cautious about that. And so when she did offer, and I'm like, primo. I totally do that. But there are like for when you do this, what I have been finding is places like Goodwill or just secondhand clothing stores. Obviously, I get undergarments new because I, yeah, and swimsuits new. Those are the only two stipulations, but like everything else. But the thing is like jeans and stuff, you can find like a lot of brand name stuff at those stores. And if you go and shop regularly and shop like the discount color days or whatever they have going, it's like a possibility as well. And it just makes sense. And I guess you're supposedly helping out your community if it's like Goodwill. They tend to hire, um, I do know they make an effort to hire disabled people. Because my uncle, who was disabled, worked for them briefly. Um, they obviously not everybody they hire is disabled, but they do make efforts to do that, and they also do give back to like local communities. I think our Goodwill donates to the VA, some kind of VA thing for our veterans that might be towards like I I think it's like a to give back to like a it's not that I keep thinking VA hospital because that's what you normally hear, and so but it isn't. It's like support groups and stuff like that for the VA when for our troops that come back and need that little extra help. And the VA military does have support groups available, but sometimes they have a waiting list and stuff, and sometimes veterans need additional things that's not covered by medical, and that's where those wonderful groups, the extra additional support groups that help give back. I guess I'm kind of passionate about that because I do have relatives that have been in the armed forces, so the military, and everybody goes into the military for their own reason, and it's just, but they don't always. I mean, sometimes it's they don't realize exactly what they get into. I have had some family friends, friends of the family, excuse me, who went into the military and came back with, he had PTSD, and it's hard to adjust to normal life after that. And I'm not going into details on who and what because that's their story. But it is, there are cases out there and there are people out there that struggle. But that being said, that's secondhand clothing stores are a great way for clothing for cheap. Um, the good thing is your shoes won't you won't have to size those down. Your feet will stay the same. That's great news. Oh, and you won't have to change the size of your earrings, right? But the other thing is making sure you have water with you when you're out and about. I live in the South, so I get warmer temperatures more often than not. So I can get dehydrated fairly easily because when you sweat, you dehydrate. When the sun beats on you, you dehydrate. When you just look weird, you dehydrate. I don't know. It's the South. You never know. You're either mosquito bait or or you're fried by the sun, or both at the same time. It could be a good day. But yeah, even in the north, when I lived up north, I would get dehydrated too because I lived in a dry climate. Even though it would get below zero, it would snow, it was still very dry, and that would just like take the water out of your skin. You don't even think that because you're like, well, it's not hot out. But yeah, you can get dehydrated in the winter up north, down south. It's always just good to keep water with you. Um, well, A, then you're not inclined to buy like a soda or whatever is convenient for you. And B, you maintain like it makes you feel better if you keep your water levels. You don't have to drink tons and tons and tons, but if you just steadily drink throughout the day and you stay hydrated, you do actually feel better because your body does need the water. And I mean, we are like 80% water, so it makes perfect sense. And the other thing is, we went, oh, kids' meals. Like, his parents took us to a restaurant. It was a ramen place. It's very fancy ramen. And I was actually thinking, I'm not going to be able to eat all this. So I was looking at the kids' meal, and I'm like, uh, even the kids' meal didn't look that great. But what I did wound up doing is I ordered a chicken dish, which, if you know me, you know that I've been eating more chicken now, but I used to not eat chicken because I didn't really care for chicken, but I've gotten back to liking chicken again. So kind of got burnt out of it as a kid. Um, I ordered a chicken dish because when looking at the proteins, that was like one of the leanest ones they offered. And then, of course, ramen does have noodles, but it's also mostly a broth thing, actually. And again, I had a little bit of the noodles, but I mostly had the broth. And even then, I was limited. I limited how much I had and ate very, very slow and was absolutely okay with not finishing or even close to finish. Honestly, I barely made a dent. I it was a big bowl. But well, and then now we have like a whole another, I don't know, 20 meals if I really want to. I'm thinking of just letting my partner have the rest, to be honest with you, like for his dinner tonight. I was supposed to do turkey tonight, and I'd even got my bell peppers and my onions, and I was gonna do like this little turkey dish. I kind of didn't get around to it because I wound up eating yogurt instead because I wanted to try that yogurt. But, you don't get mad at yourself for that. There's always something tomorrow. And at least it's not like pizza or something. I don't know. We do actually try to stay on the healthy. It's easy to slip. Oh my gosh, especially during holiday. I you walk into the store and you're just greeted with all the pastries, like a grocery store, and they just have those pastries right up front saying all those cakes and cookies and everything else, like right up in your face. Luckily, we're on January now, so all the health stuff is going to be in session because of all those New Year's things. Yeah, be a little bit better. That's what I'm going to be happy about. I and the health stuff is going to go on sale, which I'm totally for that. And that means I can like stock up on my favorites, health items that I use for food. I'm hoping my protein drink goes on sale. We'll see. We'll wait and see. Because I do have like a certain brand that I use because it's not very sweet. It doesn't have sugar in it, but it doesn't have like an overly powering sweetness with the artificial sugar it uses. As I mentioned before, certain artificial sugars are not all that good for you at all, even in small doses. And it, ironically, is the most of the ones that you find in like diet sodas, to be honest with you. But certain ones that my doctor hasn't told me that to recommend, in that would be like just like sugar and stevia is what they recommended for a sugar substitute. And then sugar alcohols, but only below a certain amount. And so you just kind of got to be careful with where are they getting the sweetness from. And a lot of the protein drinks I've noticed tend to follow those guidelines. So most of them are good out there. And if you're in doubt, read the ingredients. Legally, they have to put them on there. That's what I did. And then trial and error too. Trial and error because first starting this, I didn't know what to get. I would read the ingredients. I would go with buying, oh, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. And then um, eventually you do find some stuff that tastes pretty good. And and you find stuff that doesn't taste good. And since everybody is different and it's harder to do, and food is like one of the hardest things to like plan around because of the fact that you can live without cigarettes, you can live without alcohol. I mean, I don't drink alcohol and I've never smoked. I But you can't live without food. So that will be the one hardest thing to cope with. And you can think of it as an addiction. In some ways it is, like the salts and the sugar can be very addictive. But here's the thing, you need salt. Granted, not to the levels we get in products every day. Ham is notoriously high in salt. However, moderation, small amounts, you're fine. Bacon, also high in salt. Moderation, small amounts. And you also got to look at what else you eat that day. It's so you can have things that are like higher in salt and still be okay. And you can live without sugar, believe it or not. It's possible. But you can't live without food. And so that's kind of a constant struggle. And a lot of people like to have flavor. Well, everybody likes to be able to at least enjoy what you're eating. And that's why a lot of people are hesitant with diets, and myself included at first, because honestly, you look at it and you think, what am I going to make that's going to be even good? Because I, when diet food was starting to first come around, and when it really, really was taken off in the 80s, it was nasty. Even in the 90s, it wasn't much better. I mean, they've come a long ways today. But like the older generations, they grew up with thinking that diet food is supposed to be gross, but that's not true. You can make something taste absolutely delicious and still be absolutely healthy for you. You just gotta think outside of the box and be a little more creative and trial and error. Because don't be afraid to experiment. That's what I did. I experiment in the kitchen. I experiment on what protein things I ordered. I would check the ingredients and then kind of go from there. So that being said, um, don't forget to hydrate every day. And your imperfections are beautiful because they are what make you unique and they are what make who you are. And, with hope, anything is possible. So never give up hope. Until next time, love you all. Mwah. Goodbye.